Hey guys, back with some more Fujifilm camera rambling, and today I'm having Elijah Craig toasted barrel. Now, this is similar to the regular Elijah Craig 94 proof, but they take it, put it in another barrel, and they let it age for some more months. I don't know if it's 6, 12, 18, and then they bottle it. It's quite a bit of an upcharge. It goes from like 32 in Michigan, and this one's 55. And this is very hard to find. So 32 for the regular 94, toasted goes up to 55, and it's very hard to come by. I've seen it only a couple times. It's good. If you see it, I'd pick it up. And I tend to not like the toasted bourbons. 1910 I have, got about a half a bottle left. It's decent. I don't know if I'll buy another bottle. The Woodford Double Oak, those are all about the same price. They're in that $55 range here in Michigan. That one, the Double Oak, to me, I've heard it's supposed to taste like s'mores. People say it's delicious and sweet. And everybody's different, but for me, it tasted like somebody sprayed down a campfire with a garden hose. That wet smelling of a fire going out. And maybe I had a bad bottle, but this one tastes a lot like Elijah Craig. Obviously, it's the same juice as the regular 94, but it's got a lot more full flavor. It's you do taste some toasted. It's not overpowering. It's really good, guys. I like it. This is my second take, so got a little bit in me already. So what do we got to talk about today? So I want to cover a few different Fuji rumors that are out there. I've been behind a little bit. One that really stands out to me, as well as talk about last week's video. And I got a lot of comments on the video I published on the xh2s. It's YouTube, so I knew some of them wouldn't be that nice and gentlemanlike. But I want to talk about a couple of them, guys. I did this, and someone said I sounded salty, and really I was disappointed in the xh2s and how they got rid of the manual controls. And people said, that's not for you. That doesn't mean it's not for everyone. I get that, guys. Now, I'm not a pro. I'm not one to give advice. I don't have the camera to review. Obviously, I'm talking on YouTube. I only got a couple thousand subscribers. That's how it works. The big guys get the cameras. I don't really have access to them, and I don't have the money to buy them. This is just me talking about what I've seen on some channels that I've trust, like DP Review, Gerald Undone, and a couple others. And for me, it's disappointing because was it a camera? Now, if it had manual controls and it fixed a lot of the problems that I called out in this video, like the PASM dial, the IBIS, and autofocus, maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but looking at that PASM dial, I can tell you 100% no. Now, I don't like PASM dials, and that's the reason I bought my Fujifilm. And I don't like how they've taken those manual controls from another line in the same family of cameras. And people will say, well, it's not the XT series. Fuji's already said that they're not touching it for the XT series. Well, why can't we have it for the XH series and the XT series? I mean, maybe that sounds a little greedy, but hey, you just basically sliced out a whole camera line that I may or may not have bought. And the XH1, I didn't jump on that one, but when it was clearanced off, I tried to buy it, but it was out of stock before I can get my hands on it. The xh2s probably won't even do that because of those dials, but that's just me. I really want to know, guys, and I got some good feedback. 2 people had commented that Gerald Undone, that was one of the videos I watched, that his pre-release, the autofocus and video is much better now with the production. That pre-release didn't have all of the special sauce, if you will, the fixes. And that's too bad, because why would Fujifilm give these cameras out to these people when they know they're going to do reviews for hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you think you would check to see if it was decent autofocus in video, right, before you sent it. But the good thing is that could be fixed in this firmware release. Someone said they played around with it at the store, and thank you for that. That's a good positive feedback. So hopefully that's one box we can check off that Fujifilm is there. And the other ones were IBIS for me. It's a little wonky in video. Good for stills, not great, not very natural for video. And those things are important to me. I get they might not be important to you, but they're important to me because I want one camera. One of the commenters on there was not so nice that said, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, and I don't. You know, I'm not here to give advice to you guys. But how I use my camera, I think how I use it would be how a lot of families, guys, women that have kids and family members would use it. I love to shoot photography. I love my prime lenses on there, but to have to bounce back and forth between an iPhone for video, it sucks. I miss a lot of shots both for video and stills. The iPhone does great. The autofocus is awesome. The microphone is great. The stabilization is phenomenal. It breaks apart in low light as you would expect, but it's the switching back and forth. And with the Fujifilm, at least for my XE2, the only lens that I've actually successfully done a family trip and switched back and forth, we went to Miami. I think it was on a cruise. I know I remember some shots in Miami. Using this 18-55, it's got stabilization in the lens, and you know, that worked pretty good for me. The autofocus, this lens, not completely horrible, and this lens with the optical stabilization, I was able to pull it off, but I prefer shooting primes, and that IBIS is really needed in order to get that video. Now, the reason I know that is because I had this camera at Disney World, and I had my prime, I think the same lens, a 23 1.4, shooting a parade at Disney World, and it looked good on the back of the camera. Got it home in post, put it together, and it was so jittery, so shaky, I couldn't use any of it. So that would be awesome. Have a prime lens, be able to just hit a button, grab some video clips for the family vacation. That's what I want it for. Everybody's different, but I think the controls, guys, I think most people, I would think, are coming to Fujifilm for those controls. Not everybody, but I think a lot of people. I know I am. The form factor is perfect for me. So that's it. I want to know, you know, there's a few comments, again, not so great, but like the autofocus. One guy goes on saying, you know, you must do everything, you want everything in auto mode. It's like, I don't buy the XT thing to shoot an auto mode, dude. And I know they're probably not subscribers. I do shoot aperture priority in the daytime, and then full manual always, anytime inside. But the autofocus, I always use autofocus. I very, very, very rarely go into manual focus. And there's a whole story behind that, kind of funny, but yeah, I'll get into it. We were at Disney World. First camera I ever had was a Canon T3i. It wasn't Disney World, I'm sorry. It was Legoland in California. And my son was on a ride, and this guy with this Canon camera was telling me, hey, you ever shoot manual? And he's telling me this and that about the shutter and giving me this probably 5-minute lesson on shooting manual. Well, I thought he meant completely shooting in manual. It didn't take until after that trip I realized half my pictures were out of focus because I was manually focusing them. And they were all out of focus, at least half of them were. So autofocus, yes. When you say you shoot manual, doesn't mean you're using manual focus. And he says people with RED cameras, which is a very high professional line of cinema gear, you're not using, most likely, you're not manually focusing for family videos. The manual focus pulls and stuff are done for, you know, films and documentaries, the really high-end stuff. Those people aren't going to usually buy a Fujifilm consumer grade camera. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. More than just yes or no as far as the manual controls, but really this xh2s, and I'm not knocking you if you're buying it because it's your money, if it works for you, if that's what you want, if it fits your needs. But I'd like to know, why are you buying it? I haven't seen any in the forums. Like, people say, yeah, they're excited about getting it, but nobody's saying why. Did you upgrade from another system because it had features that they didn't have? Do you just want the latest and greatest? Do you have a bunch of Fuji lenses, so you chose to get this because it's a little better versus another camera brand? I'd really like to hear your thinking behind it, and the competition, the cameras that you compared it to when you were shopping. Because I'm not buying this camera. Love to hear your feedback in the comments, guys. The other things I want to talk about, the Fuji rumors. A couple good rumors. The first and the most important to me is the camera app, guys. Finally, after all of these years with pulling my hair out, it's getting kind of thin. We're going to see a new Fujifilm app. Now the current app is horrible. It connects barely half the time, maybe not even half the time. Then it loses connection. If you select multiple pictures, you can guarantee not all the pictures are going to transfer. And if you do try transferring a picture, it takes forever. The video is only 720p. I could go on and on and on. It's horrific. Everybody's been complaining from the beginning of time. Sounds like they're going to completely redo this app. That's awesome to see. Now, this XT2 is old, so it means it has old chipset for connecting to Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I don't even know if it has Bluetooth. So the reliability might have something to do with this, but the newer cameras should take advantage, because I used the XS10 and the app was just as bad with that than it was with the XT2. So that's very good. It's very, very, very good. Long, long overdue. It's got a lot of possibilities. Selfies, setting up your camera and be able to stop, start video remotely, but also compose. You don't need that flippy screen then. A lot of good possibilities from that. Awesome to hear. Camera sensor names for the sensors. So this is the xh2s and the xh2, which should be the xh2 later, probably this fall. Look at those names, how long they are. X-Trans, CMOS, 5HS. And typically they would say the X-Trans 3, the X-Trans 4. Now it's getting super long. So the HS is for the 21 megapixel stack, and then the 5HR is going to be the new 40 megapixel. It's just a long name, guys. It's like, come on, it reminds me of that cruise ships we like to cruise. And there's the Jimmy Buffett. It's like the Margaritaville at sea something. The cruise ship name is like a sentence, and it's not as bad, but it's getting in that same conversation for sure as far as the name. But it's good. It looks like they're both X-Trans sensors. A lot of people are going to like this 40 megapixel. A lot of people on the Fujifilm have been wanting more megapixels. Not me, but I'm not going to complain about more megapixels as long as the low light resolution. It shouldn't get any worse. Typically, as the last probably 6 or so years, the higher megapixel cameras get better low light capabilities because they can resolve more detail. That should hold true. So maybe we can see an increase in low light performance, just a chance. But as long as it's not any worse, which it shouldn't be, I'm cool. And I'll probably will get my next, I'll hold that for 1 second. So jumping on to the next one. This is a breakdown of camera releases. They went from 2018 and showed how many cameras on average were released. It might have been even a total for those 4 years. January had 5, February 4, September 4, May 3, July 1, October 1, 0 for all the other months. What does that tell us? Okay, I think it was February that the xh2s was announced. It's finally shipped the 7th of July. That means we won't see the xh 40 megapixel camera probably until September this fall. And we're past May, we're into July. So probably September we'll see the xh 40 megapixel camera. That camera is supposed to be $2,000, 8K capability, depends on what 8K. Now all 8K isn't the same. Is it long recording? Is it going to overheat? Is it super cropped? A lot, you see where I'm going. So we'll have to wait to see where that kind of shakes out. And people are already comparing it to the Canon R5 full frame camera. So that's interesting. So what does that tell us? The XT5, ever since the xh2s was announced, boom, people start blowing up with the XT5. Questions and speculations, and because this is the mainstream camera. This is the one that me and most people, when I say most people, the general Fujifilm client base wants to see for sure. This one is rumored to get the 40 megapixel bump, not the stacked. That could change. Maybe they'll come out with an XT5s. It looks like it's probably unlikely, but you never know. Now, when is this camera probably going to be released? Well, we said September. We probably won't see anything, or September for the xh2. That means we probably won't see another camera released at this size, this caliber, until the beginning of 2023. So probably January, February, we'll see an announcement for the XT5. which they'll probably port over a lot of the things from the XH2, but they're not going to give up everything, would be my guess. So some good things that are coming. If the autofocus is good, this is probably going to be my next camera, the XT5. Even if it doesn't check all the boxes, I am getting a little bit long in the tooth on the XT2. I got like $2,700 saved up. It's just nothing's really interested me enough to get my money. So I will probably pick up this XT5 and also an XT3. Now, I have a theory on the XT3. Now, they redid the SKU, they dropped the charger, redid the SKU to a current item for, it's $1,099. I really think Fuji has the plan to keep that XT3 around a long time, years even. And I think they're going to price it $999 and then have some super promotions around that camera, probably $800, $899-ish around the holidays, because it is a solid camera, guys. And I don't really need it now. It's very close to my XT2, but if that camera goes for $899, $800, $900, I'll probably pick it up just to have an extra camera around for my son to go shooting with me. And I'm still going to keep my XT2, but yeah, the XT5, not really a whole lot of what it will have, but I think you can count on a lot of the xh2 features into this camera. It'll just have the, more of a manual control. I don't think the cost is going to be that much different. Now, the xh2 is rumored to be right at or under $2,000. The XT4 right now, I think it's, what is it, $1,699, if I'm right? So that's $1,700 and $2,000. I think they won't go past what the current XT4 price is. I think it'll probably be released at $1,600 or $1,700, and I think it'll have most of the features of the XH camera, just not all. I think they're going to probably take away the unlimited recording time, things like that, and they'll say it's because we don't want your camera to overheat on you. But I think they'll probably put 80% of what's in the XH2 in the XT5, because Fuji usually doesn't hold back, but I think they will hold back some. And that's it, guys. Again, I'd love to hear your thoughts around the xh2s. If you're buying it, why are you buying it? Please leave it in your comments, and thanks for watching, guys. Take care.